What's up, everybody? Scarlet and Violet have been out for about a month now, and the big thing that everyone's been talking about is, of course, the new mechanic of this generation, terastallizing. Some people like it, some people maybe not as much. In light of that, Smogon has recently decided to suspect test terastallization on Pokemon Showdown to see if something should be done about it. So we're here today. We're going to be talking about that. And I'm not alone today. I have with me, you guys know him, you love him, the one and only Don, because I had to bring him on for this little discussion.
Yes, sir. It's the Dom, baby. It's the Dom. We talking about terastallizing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, I have pulled up here the little forum post they made on Smogon talking about, the reasons for this test and whatnot. Basically talking about how, like, it kind of puts too much emphasis on, like, guessing what Terra type they could possibly be, and also they talk about how it might be a little too powerful, and how, like, terastallizing a Pokemon could easily sway the outcome of a match. So Smogon has decided, after about a month or so, after they already banned, like, the super busted guys before, in the first, like, week, Fluttermane and Palafin, all those dudes are gone. So now now that the meta's calmed down a bit, they're now deciding to look at terastallizing and see how it should be handled going forward. But they did mention that they may in the future possibly go back and reassess whatever the results of this suspect are. I'm assuming they're talking about Pokemon Home, and, like, once that drops, once all the new mons are out, going back and see, well, maybe does this change how we feel about terastallizing with the new guys, or the old guys back, rather. So we'll see what happens with that. But as we can see here, they talk about how voting for this suspect will work, which is pretty different from how they usually handle their suspect tests, because normally it's just, like, sort of an up or down, like, either, like, keep it or ban it. That's basically it. But here they talk about how if you vote to have some action done to terastallizing, they have 4 options for how to handle it getting restricted. Is basically just outright ban, just it's gone, can't use it. They have 1 Terra user per team, so basically kind of turning it into, like, Megas or Z moves, where, like, only 1 Pokemon is able to use it. Revealing Terra types at team preview, which is something I've seen the VGC community messing around with a bit. Sort of, they're also trying to figure out how to deal with terastallizing, and one way they figure that out is basically, showing off before the match, like, what Terra types each mon has to make it, not as prediction focused. Now they also have only Pokemon can only terastallize into their stab types, basically, is the last option. So I guess, Matt, if you want to talk a bit about your opinions on Terastal and whatnot, because I know you've played a bit on Showdown, and you're fairly familiar with the gen so far. If you have your thoughts on this.
Yeah, so I like how, I just feel like it's a very complicated discussion, because I feel like I like the things that we can all agree on. Like, Dynamax, way worse than whatever this
is a lot more, like, nuanced than DMAX was, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And there was, like, empirical data for that as well, with at the beginning of Gen 8, when Dynamax was allowed, Ditto was, like, I forget what his usage stats were, but it was
top 3.
Insane. He was top 3. Yeah, that's like a screaming red flag of, like, hey, this is so little busted. But this is definitely toned back. I definitely think it's fun, and I like the effort of, like, maybe we shouldn't completely outright ban whatever made this generation special, because I think people look back at Gen 8 and it was kind of diluted because it lacked its core mechanic. Like, there was no Z moves, no Megas, no nothing.
Although I don't think, I don't think allowing Dynamax would have solved that problem in Gen 8.
Oh no, definitely not. Definitely not. I agree. But I like how it's like that issue is acknowledged and trying to be remedied here, whether or not terastallizing is broken. I enjoy it, but I'm personally conflicted on whether or not to say it's uncompetitive or not, because I do agree with the claim that like victories can be built are more so an outcome of team building, right?
Yeah.
Like if I just had the correct terastallizing for that correct scenario, it could just completely shift the outcome of the game, which I mean prep can do as well, but I think it's a lot more common.
Yeah,
with terastallizing for sure.
Especially when you can Terra any of your 6 guys to like whatever situation you need them to fit in is definitely it's a lot to try to deal with all at once in the team builder for sure.
I'm not sure how I feel about revealing what the Terra type is, because I'm of the personal opinion that I don't think it matters too much. Like if I see stupid Espathra on a team, chances are that's going to be the guy that terastallizes, you know?
Yeah, that's a good chance.
And sometimes when it is kind of, I feel like when it's like unpredictable, like when I'm like, oh my god, they terastallize, okay, usually it's not to their benefit. Like that low ladder turn 1 Glamora turning into a flying type of beat. It's like, all right, well you wasted that, kid. I hope that extra layer of spikes was worth it.
For sure, dude. You gotta counter team those great tusks, you know. But I also think I don't think revealing Terra type does that much in the grand scheme of things, honestly, because I feel like, you know, we're a month in. I feel like, you know, if you've played the tier a fair bit, you can kind of get a feel for what Terra types are common and what you'll generally see. Like if you're fighting a Dragonite, right? Odds are it's probably gonna be normal, right? And
it's
like
normal, yeah.
Seeing that at team preview is not really gonna change much. But I also feel like if they do that, that also takes away from some of the more creative strategies you can run with Terra, because Terra, while like we talked about, it is kind of hard to deal with. It does give you a lot of opportunities to make interesting strategies when building your team, and if they can know what Terra type you are ahead of time before the battle even starts, then that does kind of can sort of make the impact of, you know, certain surprise strategies a little bit weaker if they can see it coming at the start of the game. So I also feel like this option, maybe not. I mean, all of the options have like pros and cons, right? It's like none of them are a perfect fit, but I feel like I have seen a lot of general support for this option though, because like it does fix like what a lot of people see as the main issue with terastallizing currently is like stuff being too prediction heavy and like too much guesswork, because like if you can just see what types there are right from the jump, then it's like, all right, you know what to expect, so it's not as hard to play around every turn. So I definitely get that.
No, for sure. I always like to compare competitive singles to chess, because a lot of it's the same. You don't try to kill what's in front of you. You try to like plan 3 steps ahead or whatnot.
Exactly.
And I think of it as like, okay, what if your rook or any of your pieces in chess can do whatever the fuck they want for like, they just become a queen for 1 turn, or they change, like your bishop can become a rook for like a turn, you know? Or that's what I essentially feel like. It's crazy to me because it is fun, but I agree, like the unpredictability of it can make it less competitive, because like predicting's the coolest thing about.
Yeah, that is the game, basically, is prediction.
I play Showdown, exactly. I play Showdown to get my wall breaker out and whatnot and get the sick read. I can't read when they can just pull out some crazy, like, Terra Fairy on anything, really, or Terra Water. Yeah. It's like, all right, there we go. Well, I clicked Bandit knockoff for nothing. Now I look like a chump.
Exactly. Also, the option for 1 Terra per user, I think this makes sense. I mean, it might just be like, you know, it feels comfortable because it's familiar, right? Because it's like Megas and Z moves. But I feel like I don't think it's that bad of an option, because it does still let you have like creative sets around terastallizing. Like you can pick your specific Pokemon at Terra, right? And you can sort of build a team around that, which I think is cool. I think it still encourages creativity when team building, but it also, you know, does still give that little surprise factor. They mentioned here that they say that only the first Pokemon in your party will be able to Terra, which I don't know how I feel about that specifically. I don't feel like it should be like telegraphed explicitly. Okay, like, oh, this is the Pokemon that is going to Terra, because I don't feel like that's really necessary.
No, that's super whack. Is that really what it says?
Yeah, only the first member of the party will be allowed. I mean, I guess that's sort of like, that might just be like on Showdown's end, just like make it easier to tell, like, oh, okay, this is the Terra Pokemon. It's always the first Pokemon in the builder.
Okay, like in the okay. For some reason, when you said that, I interpreted it as the first guy you sent out. I'm like, that's ridiculous. What?
No. But
no, you meant like Zoroark, for example. How it's always the yeah.
Yeah, but that should, like, you'd still be able to see what their Terramon is, right, at Team Preview, because you can see what's in the front. So I don't know how I feel about that specifically, because I feel like if it's only limited to one Pokemon on your team, then I feel like it's not really necessary to like telegraph which mon it is, because we had Z moves, and it's like you didn't know for sure what guy was gonna go for the Z, but like you could sort of play around it, right? The fact that it was only one Pokemon and like a predetermined Pokemon on their team sort of made it a little easier to play around. So I think this option's not that bad. I think it's the one I'm most in favor of. I would definitely say I'm in favor of restricting Terra in some way. I don't think it should be banned outright, at least not yet. I don't feel like that's necessary at the moment, but I don't think it would be bad to restrict it, because my main issue with Terra has always been it just feels like a zero drawback mechanic. Like there's too much good about it, right? Like you can turn any of your Pokemon into any type, and your opponent has no way to tell, and also it lasts for the whole battle, and also it gives you like Giga Stab if you turn into like the type you already are. Also, if you turn into a different type, you keep your old Stab for some reason. Also, you don't need an item to do it. It's just like it feels a little too strong in my opinion. There's no real downside to it. So I feel like I don't think restricting it would be that bad, honestly. But I'm personally not that big on the idea of restricting it to only Stab Terra, because I feel like that's just sort of it's then we're just playing like adaptability the game at that point, right? And I feel like it's just that would disproportionately benefit Pokemon that already have strong offensive typing, as opposed to like a lot of defensive Pokemon, because I feel like defensively, like not a lot of Pokemon would benefit from that, because a lot of the Pokemon that are good defensively with Terra are Pokemon that change their type into something better. You got like Skeledirge, right, who's like very defensive Pokemon, but Fire Ghost isn't super great defensively, but then it turns into a fairy type, and then suddenly it becomes this super strong like wall that can just stick around for a long time with Unaware. So I definitely think that Terra has succeeded, I guess, where sort of Z moves and Dynamax didn't, in making the mechanic equally as good for defensive Pokemon as for offensive Pokemon. Because with Z moves and D Max, right, it's like you're basically always using that offensively, because you just got the most out of that when you did that, right? It was kind of a no-brainer. But for Terra, you have like good reason to Terastallize one of your defensive Pokemon, and I feel like if they make it like Stab only, I feel like that definitely takes away from that. And I feel like it just makes the best Pokemon in the game already more broken, which like, because you think about like what's the best Pokemon right now, like Chi-Yu, Qianpao, Roaring Moon. Like I feel like
bro, Chi-Yu. No.
I feel like if they did this, then like those guys would just get even more busted, and then like
for sure
probably get banned, right? And I feel like that's a little counterintuitive, because if the point of restricting Terra in some way is to like make for a more balanced metagame, then why would we want an outcome where more Pokemon end up getting banned? 'Cause I feel like generally we want a meta where like we have the most options available and a lot of Pokemon are viable, which I definitely don't think having only stab Terra would achieve that. I feel like it would make it just even more like overwhelmingly offensive, because that's the thing with this gen, right? Is it's like offensive teams are so good, and like that's not really a secret, right? That's how it's been like since day one, basically. Like stall, like the nerfs to stall, like the nerfs to recovery PP. A lot of Pokemon losing knockoff and scald. Like stall has just gotten like absolutely smoked this gen, and terastallizing sort of only like exaggerates that, because it just when you got like Specs Chi getting like adaptability, that's like, well, what stall team's gonna take that, right? So,
yeah, like Blissey can't even live 2 Fire Blasts from fire. Yeah,
exactly. So I feel like
it's crazy.
I feel like I don't think making Terra a stronger offensive option is going to help in that regard.
No, I agree, and I think that is kind of the issue of limiting Terra for every single scenario. Is that's the one thing I actually do really like about Terra, is I think it's the first time ever where it is kind of like a defensive and an offensive maneuver. Dynamax was sort of like that, but I feel like
because you got the double HP, right? But it's like, are you really gonna Dynamax like your Toxapex or something, right? It's not.
Well, I feel like people defensively Dynamax to stop an offensive Dynamax. All right, they got 2 turns left. I got 3. Let me use a Max Guard, pussy. But they that's what I like about. I think no matter what nerf is gonna happen, I think it will kind of benefit offensive mons more. Like if I'm picking one I keep saying Dynamax, terastallizing captain, we'll call him Terra Captain. Chances are it'll probably be like a setup sweeper. I think if you had to pick one. And then if you are only allowing, as you said, if you're only allowing stab, then I don't think any wall really benefits from Terra at that point whatsoever, because you're just making big dick ballers ball harder.
Yeah, because like most good defensive Pokemon are good because they already have good defensive typing, right? So it's like they don't really have need to Terra at that point.
Yeah, but I do think like maybe having one Terra Captain, even though it does kind of limit who defensive terastallizing, I just feel like it's just such a good option for like your setup sweeper. I think setup sweepers are the ones that benefit the most from it.
True.
In all honesty, because I think of it like you get like D-Knight with the E-Speed stab. If you can set up a dragon, like even like Iron Thorns or something random like that,
Iron
right?
Thorns pretty good.
Terra flying, exactly. You bait an Earthquake, Terra flying, you D-Dance. You're like in prime position to just destroy. I guess maybe not setup sweepers, because also like you said, like Roaring Mood, the big just heamers.
Yeah, just like
of
Pokemon,
the tier.
like wall breakers too. Also, like Terra a lot, because you're giving any mon adaptability basically. So it's like they really enjoy that.
Yeah, I miss Crawdon.
I also miss Crawdon.
He would have loved the triple adaptability knockoff.
It's fine. Soon we're gonna get Hisui and Samurott, and that's gonna be close enough. And Basculegion
with the spot. Oh,
they're gonna fill that void.
Yeah, I don't think anything should be decided though. When's the home mons dropping? Isn't it spring?
Yeah, spring they said.
Oh, that's a pretty long time. Never mind. I was gonna say maybe wait till they drop to like start reassessing and making that decision, but that's a long way there. Because there's a lot of mons that will definitely define the meta and rebalance things. It's gonna be huge.
We're getting Lando Teabag, Heatran, Torn T. Like those guys are like the kings of OU. They're definitely gonna shake things up.
Ultra Beats are coming back too, right?
In home? I don't think so.
Probably not. Never mind.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll probably come back eventually. They'll probably bring back everybody.
Yeah, once Cart's in the game, it's a wrap.
Yeah, we got to have something figured out before Cart comes back, honestly. That's nutty. I don't like that one. I do not like that one.
Dude, stab, Sacred Sword, just everyone getting smoked.
181 attack. Yeah, that's a fun one. That's a fun idea.
But yeah.
You're going to be having trouble sleeping tonight with that.
For sure. But they did say, right, they may, not guaranteed, but they may, go back and see, like, they, like, test it again once home comes out just to see, if things change drastically. But I am pretty confident in saying I don't think Terra is going to get banned outright. I have seen some people in support of that, but I don't think there's going to be enough people who think that for that to happen. They did say that it says right here you need to reach a majority of 60% of people voting that it needs like some action needs to be taken in order for something to happen. So maybe nothing's going to end up happening and Terra's just going to stay as is, because I have like just from like general reception online and stuff, I feel like it is like a pretty like evenly split issue. Like a lot of people are in favor of restricting it, but also of just leaving it as is. So I guess we'll have to see what ends up happening with that.
Yeah, I think what might take it to, 'cause I don't know why I feel this way, but with Pokemon, a lot of things look a certain way on paper, but then in execution, it's totally different. Like I remember
Yeah.
Skeletor. I love Skeletor's design, and when that guy leaked, I was like, "Yo, this guy looks sick. Like maybe he could be good." But it's like defensive with Ghost Fire, like maybe not. And he turns out he's a demon. He's like an OU staple right now.
Yeah.
So I think maybe when home drops and there's some like there's some tech that we figured out that we just haven't thought of, it could show Terra in a different light. I feel like if that does happen though, it'll probably be in a negative light though. But we'll see. Because that's I think what was cool about seeing Terra was just seeing how trends develop. Like it was like
definitely like it has been like we've seen like the meta grow as time has gone on. Like it's definitely changed quite a bit.
Water type Annihilate was like the big one that comes to mind. Like, yo, that's crazy.
Yeah, just turn into Suicune.
Just turn into Suicune.
It's nasty. And then you got Dirge becoming Clef. It's pretty. Ooh.
Yeah, it's funny. That's what
cool.
I like about it. But like again, I think that I don't know. It's funny and it's fun. And I like those things, but ultimately, it's like whether or not it creates a good competitive environment.
Yeah, because that's the thing, right? No one's arguing if Terra's fun or not. Like everyone thinks Terra's a blast. Like it's super fun to use. But the thing with Smogon is they want to create like as competitive of a meta as possible, because that's what they're trying to do, right? They're trying to make a competitive game. So it's like, fun sort of takes a back seat a lot of the times. Not to say they don't want the game to be enjoyable, because obviously they do, but it's also like they want it to be a viable competitive game, right? Because Smogon's always hosting tournaments and stuff, and they want the best scene possible for that stuff to happen. But yeah, I will say I am very like in favor of how Smogon's handling this suspect in particular. As I said at the start, it's definitely like different from how they usually do it, but I think that's good because like not just having like an up or down like ban, or not like having multiple options, and also like saying like, yeah, like we like it may not stick like hard to like whatever the outcome is, we may like reassess at some point. I think that's good because it definitely like we mentioned earlier, it's not definitely like nowhere near as clear cut as Dynamax was. Like there's a lot more room for argument when it comes to Terra, and seeing how people respond to it, because like we said, the meta around Terra has developed quite a bit like over the past month, and like I'm certain it's gonna keep developing as time goes on. So we'll see like what direction it goes in, and how that affects the perception of the game in general. But yeah, I think I've said about everything I wanted to. If you have any more thoughts you'd like to share, Matt.
I think my final note is like I think I agree with you actually. I respect Smogon, which is like I think becoming an unpopular opinion. They're just getting a lot of hate, and it's just like I agree with them because like you do want to make the game competitive, and fun has to take a back seat. That's not necessarily negative. It sounds like it is, but if you want to have fun, go play the actual game. Or like,
I mean,
this is competitive, and even though I'm more of like a for fun player, I guess you could say, I kind of agree with how they're approaching this too, and I think they're leaning into it a little bit. Like they don't want to outright ban it. I think that would be like really easy to do, but they want to like have their cake and eat it too, and I can respect that. So yeah,
definitely. So yeah, if you guys want to partake in the suspect test, because it is going on right now. They say right here if you make a alt account that starts with what's it? Where do they say? Where do they say it here? So you make an account that starts with OUDJ. It's basically just so they know like that, like what specific accounts are like playing for the suspect, basically, and then you have to reach a GXE of 80 with at least 50 games played. So you can check your GXE on Showdown if you don't already know. It's basically like a sort of your win rate, and then yeah, you get to vote on the suspect. Also, I didn't mention, but the options they have for like if action should be taken. It's not like you only pick one. You get to rank them in order of which ones you prefer, and then they'll like use that information once the suspect is over, like to see which one is generally the most popular, and make the decision from there, which I also really like, because I think while like we said, I would like have some issues with like reveal terror type. I would much rather that than like only stab. So I like that they let you rate which ones you prefer. So yeah, the suspect is going on until January 1st, so the new year. So still plenty of time to ladder up and get your vote in if you're interested in doing that. But yeah, I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see what ends up happening. Again, I'm fairly confident it's not gonna get outright banned. Might get restricted, or maybe nothing's gonna happen. Maybe no majority is reached, and just keep playing as is. But I guess we'll find out. So yeah, that's all from us. Thank you guys for watching the video, and of course, be sure to check out Matt. New
Yes,
creator on the
sir.
rise. The mob is up.
Yes, sir. The Don Snack. We're living in the Donliest timeline, baby.
Donliest timeline. Be sure to check him out. His channel in the description, of course. And yeah, stay tuned over here for more vids about competitive Pokemon on Showdown and all that. Definitely be talking more about Terra whenever we get the results of this suspect. But yeah, that's it from us. I'll catch you guys in the next video.